Aggravation, and why are so many people against
Well,
it?
now don't call them patients, call them residents.
Residents, okay.
Yes, sir.
I'm not political. I'm too old to be political. Correct.
I'll be very honest with the public. I think that those people that are employed there will no longer be county CSEA employees. They will be employed by the group or the individual or whatever that purchases that county home.
So we'll lose jobs through the county, and hopefully they'd be picked up by the new owner.
Why wouldn't the new owners of that county home want to hire the highly skilled, trained people that are working there now? And the residents appreciate the people working there now. So there's no reason for me to think that those people wouldn't be offered employment. There may be further training because, as you mentioned, rehab. They do rehab there now, but maybe they're going to be able to offer new equipment with more highly trained rehab there.
Big profit.
But will those county workers be CSEA employees in the future? It's highly unlikely.
Okay, so the union's against it. Again,
I'm just saying that may be one of the reasons that you see the signs. I don't see them losing jobs in northern Chautauqua County because of this. I don't see people going on food stamps. I see that whoever may purchase that county home will bring family-sustaining jobs to that area.
Yeah, in other words, nothing's going to change.
I think all this is too premature, but it's easy to criticize, but I'm just trying to lay out the truth of what we've done so far. We haven't even picked the group to market it yet. As I said, we're looking at the RFPs. We had 2.
Yeah. So
and the county executive, now, the county executive can go out and request RFPs.
What RFP?
Well, we have the request for proposals, so we've done that.
That's an RFP?
Yeah, it's an RFP.
Request for proposal,
okay. Yep. Now, we've got to pick one of the 2 agencies that presented those RFPs. He can go ahead and start the process, and that will take, let's say, another year to complete, or the whole process, looking at who may be interested in purchasing this nursing home. And that may come within 12 months to a vote of the legislature, whether or not we'd sell it.
Okay, so at any rate, we'll have to see what happens.
Here again, I'll be back. I'll keep you abreast of what's going on, because it's a hot topic. And, we still haven't discussed last week's budget vote.
Yeah, I want to talk about the budget before we've only got about 11 minutes left.
11 minutes and 44 seconds.
Changes. What are some of the major changes? Now, there are only certain things you can change that aren't mandated or totally contracted under. Now, CARTS is one of them. Veterans Affairs.
Yes, they're still.
Let's see, Office of the Aging, and
Meals on Wheels we didn't change.
Meals on Wheels, that's part of, okay.
That's senior citizens.
Okay, senior citizens, always, well, not always, but in most cases. As is the agency, the Veterans Agency, most of them are seniors. And of course, the Office of the Aging are all seniors. And CARTS serves a lot of seniors. It gets them to their doctor, if nothing else. So it looks like the seniors are taking a hit here. But,
I wouldn't say they're taking a hit. I would say the biggest hit's going to come within the county sheriff department.
Joe isn't going to allow that.
Well, right now, after we passed the budget last week, like it or not, we got $500,000 back in for the sheriff. He told us at the meeting that would reemploy 6 deputies. He had told us the week before if he took the
$500,000. $500,000 is good for just 6 deputies? How much they pay a deputy?
Well, I'm not going to sit here and try to guess.
Well, they got to have a car for them, too.
No, those deputies don't make that kind of money. Not these, the ones that will be laid off. But with benefits and stuff, but I'm not going to take a guess. But what he told us, among other things, they would employ six deputies that were going to be laid off. There were about 35 to 40 individuals in the sheriff department that possibly may be laid off. So what it'll come down to is I don't know what will be the final figure, but he did guarantee that he would keep some deputies on. The other thing we did, we put $150,000 back in for the airport. I'm hoping in the very near future I can spend some time up there. I haven't been up there. The county owns a hangar there, and the reason we did that, there are a lot of contract planes that come in there, and I hope to get the information out to the county residents of the number and the magnitude of those not commercial flights. I'm not talking about the commercial flights. I'm talking about the contract carriers that fly small planes in and out of there to our different businesses, for example, Cummings. We need that airport, but the public has to they have to see that we need it. Some of the things that we also did that bother me, We've pushed a lot of money into next year. I'll fully agree with that. The county executive has said that. The legislature knows that. We estimated our sales tax revenue to be almost $1 million more next year.
Right, which is something startling to a lot of people.
Yes, well, but how do you cut the budget back another $3-4 million without doing some of this stuff? So we have some things here I'm very uncomfortable with, but a lot of us will be there next year working through this process. Andy Goodell and Senator Young, that $600,000 53rd payment for Medicaid is not going to have to be made this year
or
this
is
next
the odd year where you get an extra payment, right?
Yeah, this is a leap year.
Right.
So those things are out there, but I'm very uncomfortable. But we knew going into the budget Wednesday evening, we thought we could come in at about 5 to 6% over. But as the meeting started that evening, I could see very clearly that the full intention of that legislative body sitting there in Mayville Wednesday night was to get below the tax cap. And that's where we are. The only real cut that came was in the legislative clerk's office. She's half-time now. Whoever party gets elected, there'll only be a half-time clerk there next year because we cut $20,000 out of that budget. So those are the kind of things, that's really the only cut we made. But the tax rate is going to be $9.22. Last year it was $8.90. It was going to go up to $10.03. But I've told
last year we had a huge whack too. It was up 15%.
9%.
Well, if you count the new building and everything that came in.
But you also have to remember, since County Executive Greg Edwards came into office, he had cut taxes every year. Right or wrong, that's what he did. I'm not going to say either way, but people forget he cut taxes every year he'd been in office except last year. And that's the way it was. But people are, and I think personally, I know a lot of people agree, the best bang for your buck that you pay is your county taxes. I know there's some that will disagree, but in the end, you get a pretty good bang for your buck for your county taxes.
Final question, point. As you point out, part of it had to do with probably an impossible increase in sales taxes. Maybe it would happen, but it's very unlikely. But also you pushed part of the budget into next year. Now that means borrowing in a sense, doesn't it?
Well, it means departments have to come in at budget. Yeah. That means if we don't, we've just pushed about $14 million into next year. You're exactly right that we're going to have to deal with if some of these things don't come to fruition.
Yeah, so.
You're exactly right, Reed.
No, let's hope.
But here again, I'll be back facing the camera in the next 2 years, hopefully 2 or 3 times a year to bring you up to speed and answer any questions.
We have a last phone call.
Okay.
Hello there, caller. Thank you for waiting.
Good morning. Thank you. Just a quick question. As far as the sheriff's department being cut, how's that going to affect the rural communities?
Well, the rural communities, that's going to be a concern. One thing I will say, I've attended meetings jointly with the sheriff and the New York State Police. I realize there's no more troopers coming into this county either, but we have got the troopers helping us at the present time with some of the calls, and the closest call is being made more readily available to the state police and the sheriff, and I think that that you will see some pain out there. I'm not sure we'll have a snowmobile patrol. I hope we can have some. I know navigation on the lake, because of my residents that surround the lake, has been cut back this last year. There
patrols.
Were some patrols.
The whole game is patrols. Joe says we're not going to have the patrols anymore.
Right. So that will be a concern, and I think we'll just have to wait and see what happens. We will have law enforcement in this county. That's not a question. Now, Ripley, I don't know. You know, I think Ripley, in a sense, I know Pete Ryan had made the comment, I think, in the paper that the sheriff does some special patrols in Ripley, for example, as they do in Sunset Bay. So hopefully he can continue to do them. They may have to be renegotiated if, for example, Ripley isn't being cared for like Ripley would like to be cared for.
So you're chopping Joe back big. How much did you take out of his budget finally?
His budget came in at about $1.2 million.
That includes the slammer, does it?
That includes the jail and the sheriff's patrol and the fire service budget. And we gave him back $500,000. So his budget suffered a hit of a little over $700,000.
So he figures that's 9 or 10 patrolmen.
Well, he figures that not only that, he had radio people, he had dispatch people. So in that group of 40, there wasn't all just deputies.
Yeah.
So right now, that would have meant a whole shift would have to be eliminated. This way, I'm confident he'll do his best to supply us with road patrols.
Well, he does a wonderful job. The only question is he going to have the funding? We'll have to see. I guess we'll find out.
We'll find out because we'll be back. We'll let you know.
How crime waves hit.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you, caller. I hope that answers the question. Okay, Fred, one last question about our budget. How much of a hit did the Office for the Aging take? That's something that concerns all seniors because that's exclusively senior operation.
Right. There was nothing cut out of by the legislature with the Office for the Aging. There was some talk that we might have to cut out one section of the county with Meals on Wheels. That was not happening. And to sit here and say they took a slight hit, but I cannot answer for Mary Ann Spanos in what exactly will change with the Office for the Aging. But I know that that's near and dear to her heart. It's near and dear to the legislators in this county. So as far as I know, there was not much of a hit to the Office for the Aging. But if Mary Ann Spanos comes back on here and proves me wrong, I will come back.
She'll be on in a few weeks. I did explain to her I had seen a big trailer being wheeled down to the park, and it already had an Office for the Aging sign on it, and it looks like that's where they're going to be relocated.
Well, I don't know about that, but I know the Veteran Services and Office for the Aging were very near and dear to everyone's heart. So we were careful not to do that.
Yeah, well, after people go off to war and get killed or wounded or mortally wounded or whatever, it's just horrible that they would not have the services they need to get their money. And that's what's happening. It's tremendously important that they have somebody to speak for them at the government level.
Right. And the thing that really is frustrating to me after sitting through, and I want to commend all the legislators, we spent more time this year going through the budget than I can ever remember. It was real education. But to me, the social service programs that we have available, and I don't mean senior programs, I mean people that are unemployed for 5 years, and now the state has made us do a safety net of several $1 million that we put into this is simply wrong.
Okay. One of the big problems is, we're out of here. The state keeps mandating, but doesn't give us the money like